a couple of weeks back, I was talking with my friend about making decisions and being decisive, and she was talking to me about how sometimes it's really hard to decide on things and what to do, and that's a feeling that I believe that most people can relate to, and so that's what I'm going to talk about today. So, episode 234, we're talking about decisions. I like the number 234 as an aside, very random, but a nice number. And so just before this, I looked up dictionary definition of decisive, and it has multiple meanings, but the meaning I want to focus on is having or showing the ability to make decisions quickly and effectively, which I think is a very, very important skill to have, a very important capacity, very important thing to be able to do, basically. And every day we are faced with lots and lots of decisions. While I was having that conversation with my friend, I remember that I wrote something about this in the earlier version of my newsletter, so I went to look for it. This was in 2019, in August, funny enough. But anyway, like that was like 5 years ago. But yeah, and I wrote about like making decisions and how we often have to make lots of decisions. So like every day there's so many decisions that we have to make, from what do you want to eat, which god, the day that I'll be done, when I can afford to have a chef living in my house and I know how to think about what I'm going to eat every day again, that will be a day. But anyway, you have to think about so many things. What am I going to eat? What should I wear? What should I drink? Which water bottle should I buy? And then there are the big decisions. This job offer, should I accept it? Should I go to school? Should I quit my job? Should I start a business? Should I start a relationship with this person? Should I remain single? Should I make this person my friend? Should I break up this relationship? Should I break up this friendship? There's just so many decisions we have to make daily. I'm sure there's some statistic about how we have to make like thousands of decisions every day, and you probably heard about how like Mark Zuckerberg and Steve Jobs and all these people, they wear the same thing every day because it's one less decision they have to make or whatever. But that's not what I hear. What I want to talk about is the difficulty in making some decisions and how we can actually become more decisive, or things that I found that helped me become more decisive and being able to make a decision and move on with it. Because it can be scary, because like as you become older, the decisions you're making are higher stakes, and the consequences of your actions slash inactions and decisions slash indecisions are mostly yours to face. They may impact other people, but you will definitely be very, very impacted by those decisions. And we don't know the future. We can only make guesses about the future and assumptions, but we don't really know. So yeah, now let's talk about being decisive. Okay, making a decision seems easy when you have to choose from maybe one good thing and one bad thing, depending on whatever you're working with at the time. So maybe your big goal right now is you want to, you want to increase your income, and you get 2 job offers. The companies are basically doing the exact same thing. They are exactly the same. You've spoken to people who worked at both companies, and everybody only has positive, great things to say about both companies. Everything is perfect. They are literally the exact same company. One is offering you a lot more money than the other one. So it seems like an easy decision, just go with the one that pays you more, right? Or something like that. But the problem is when you have 2 potentially equally good options, or when you're between a rock and a hard place. Because most times, if you've been job hunting for a while, for example, and most people are very likely to just take the first offer they get, because it's like, oh, I've been unemployed for a while, I've been looking for a job, and now I am going to just take this first offer, even though it may not be exactly what I want. But let's say you're in a comfortable job, you don't hate your job, it's nice, whatever, it's going good, and you apply to one job and they give you an offer, but it's not really a great offer. You're like, whatever, I don't really care. So sometimes it's really easy to make decisions, right? And some other times it's not, because you may seem like, oh, this is a very great opportunity, especially like somebody who's been job hunting for a while now. You've done like 200 applications. I think it's a very great opportunity. I don't know, I can't pass on it, but what happens, what next? But it's really, really important. And I'm not just talking about job wise or career wise, but like in different areas of your life to really think about what is important to you. Is this thing really, really important? Think about, like, my friend that I was talking about, she's trying to furnish her house, and she was like trying to choose sofa, trying to choose table, trying to choose things, and we were talking about it. I was like, yeah, it's really hard because like you're decorating your space, this is where you're going to live and everything. And so the important question really is like, what is the most important thing? What things do I not really care about? Like, it's fine if it's not exactly what I want, but the things that are like things that are must be the way I want them. And it reminds me of like when I was wedding planning, there were so many things I actually didn't care about. Like my wedding dress, I did not care about the church wedding dress. I rented it and I actually had somebody pick for me. I took pictures with the ones I liked the best of all the ones that I tried on, and had somebody choose the one I actually, because I didn't care. But there are other things I really, really cared about, like wearing my yellow dress. That was very, very important, and I was not willing to let it go. So basically, the point is that the first thing to do when you're facing a decision, you need to like look at it on the scale of your life. It doesn't really, like, is it a big decision? Does it really matter? Is it like, what am I going to eat today? You can literally eat anything, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You can also meal plan if that helps you make decision better, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But in the big things like, oh, should I move to a new country? Should I accept this job? Whatever. Important to think about, what do you actually really, really want? And again, I want to remind everybody that when I'm saying you, this is just my decision making framework and how I think about things, and I'm just slipping into the you. But the point is, this is what I do. Think about what I really, really, really want and what I don't want, because that's the part that I find that people often don't think about. They only focus on, oh, what do I want, what do I want, and they don't think about the what don't I want part. And sometimes it's easier to eliminate things based on what you don't want than what you want. So very clear, very important to have those two things really well defined. And another thing is that I try to do is, once I make a decision, I've made it, I don't spend time thinking about, oh, what would have happened if I went to that one, what if I chose the other thing. I try as much as possible not to do that, because there is an unlived life. There's a path that you did not follow, and you have to be comfortable with that. You have to be okay with it. You have to make peace with it. Otherwise, you're not going to actually enjoy whatever decision you made, and you're not probably going to put in your best efforts. You're just going to be living in this other unlived reality instead of the reality they're actually in, which is not a great thing to do. But now that that's out of the way, my first step approach to making decisions where I have to choose between multiple things on a grand scale, career, travel, moving, whatever, is one, to list out the pros and cons of the first thing, list out the pros and cons of the second thing, and so on. So list out the pros and cons of all the things that are involved, right? Then weigh them, like make a rating system or a weighing scale of those things, of those points that I have made, as these are the pros of A and the cons of B, and the pros of A and the pros and cons of A and the pros and cons of B. So sometimes people only do the pros of each thing, like, oh, pros of thing A, pros of thing B, pros of thing C, which pros are the most. I don't do that. I do pros and cons so I can see the full picture. And again, also remember that this your pros and cons list is based on what you know, because there are things that you don't know. So it's based on limited information, which is also fine. Don't worry too much about the information you don't have. Just work with the information you have. Try and get information if you can, but mostly just work with what you have. So you have your list. Then also, I think about, if I do A and miss out on the possible pros of B and C and D and so on, and A doesn't work out, can I live with that? Will I regret not doing B, C, blah, blah, blah? So basically, do the cons of A outweigh the pros of B? Because that's what I'm actually looking at. The pros of each thing is fine, but what really matters, what I really want to assess on, is the cons. So do the cons of A outweigh the pros of B, and vice versa? So with that, it's more easy to make a decision for me. And then another thing that I do is that I ask myself, is this a faith decision or a fear decision? I've tried for a while now to live my life from a place of faith and not from a place of fear, or of like lack or fear of things, or with like the mindset that things are limited. I try as much as possible to live my life from a place of a feeling of abundance, that there's more, there are possibilities that exist and everything. So I ask myself, is this a decision made from fear? Like, am I not choosing this thing because I'm afraid, and then I list out things I'm afraid of, because sometimes both decisions can have like faith elements and fear elements. So that's why it's important to like list out those things as well. How would doing this be a step of faith, and how would not doing this be because of fear? Again, limited information, but work with what you have. And then finally, and most importantly for me as a Jesus girly, is that I pray about it. I carry, so sometimes I go to God first, so I do all these things, but sometimes I do all these things first and I'm like, God, this is what my simple human brain has given me, and I'm giving it to you, but let me know what to do. Like that thing in Proverbs about like bring your plans to God, right? So that's my last thing, and actually the most important thing for me, because even if I've done all these pros and cons, faith and fear thing, if God tells me the opposite of what I have landed on, whatever I landed on is not the goal, it's not the plan. Right? So yeah, that's the thing. And again, the most important thing when it comes to decisions is that once you make that decision, you just have to move on with it, and then you can shift if you need to, like as time goes on. You can say that, oh, this is not working out anymore or whatever, but don't be comparing it to a reality that does not exist, of the oh, what if I did this instead, what if I should have done that instead, but well, you didn't do that, this is what you did, so what are you going to move on, how are you going to move on from this point if it turns out that it's not working out again or as you planned? So there is a cost to indecisiveness. There's actually a cost to not making decisions and not doing things, because you're sitting down there thinking, what if? Because when you don't make a decision, that decision is going to be made for you by life, by other people, by other forces. So it's important to take that step and just make a decision. Don't think about, not that you shouldn't think about, is this the right decision or not. Just like whatever decision you make is the right decision. Once you made the decision, that's the right decision, and you just need to move on with it. Even if it doesn't work out, like I have said, if the consequences of not continuing is low stakes, like it's not your life if you don't continue, then move on, like do something else. Yes, it's very hard because sunk cost, you've already put so much time and effort and energy into it. What will you do now? And all of those things. Yes, I hear you and I understand, but it's better for you to move on now than to move on in 5 years, because you are still going to be in the same, like mentally in the same place. That whole thing of, oh, I've already spent 2 years working on this, I've already spent 5 years working on it. If it's not working, it's not working. Even if you spend 7 years working on it and it's still not working, it's still not working. So are you just going to be there trying to work on something that is not working till you die? Well, you can, because it's your life. But anyway, that's my decision making framework and how I think about big decisions, especially. Thank you for listening. Bye. There's still over 100 episodes to go. I still need questions. I still need suggestions of who to talk to. I still need people who want to come on to talk about something to fill the form. So please do that. Thank you very much. And yeah, do like, share, subscribe if you found it interesting, insightful, and all the nice things. Bye.